Hello, group of Cancer. Welcome to your reading for the week of January 13th to the 19th. So I feel as though I might be reading for two separate groups on the Cancer Collective. So I'm going to start with the image that the guides gave me. And it was you standing in a round circular stainless steel circle, the kind you would see on acrobatic performances, where people are spinning and wrapping themselves around it, but they're basically suspended in the air while they're doing their performance within this circle. You're not doing a performance, and yours isn't connected to anything. It's just suspended over the water. It's suspended over the ocean. And what I'm seeing when I'm looking at you doing this is you're kind of looking down, and it's like you're looking into the water and you're deciding whether or not you should jump. And if you go in, should you go feet first or should you go head first? But you're getting ready, and it's like, it's kind of scary, but it's kind of exciting, and you're ready to do it, but you're clenching and you're ready to go in and hold your nose as you're going in. Not hold your nose, but hold your breath. And what I'm getting for you is no. As you jump in, you breathe out. You take your breath before you go in, and then you breathe out so that it doesn't come rushing back up your nose. But I'm looking at this, and water typically is emotion. And certainly for the Cancer Collective, we look at water as being your home, the place of emotion where you tend to live and be most comfortable. So it's very interesting to me that you're above it, but you're looking down into it. What I'm getting with that is air is also something that we associate with emotion because of its connection to the heart chakra. And what I'm getting a feeling of here is it's almost as though you are being asked in some way or challenged in some way. But challenged not in a bad way necessarily, just challenged with circumstance to come out of the depths of your water in order to be able to be above and feel things differently and to actually kind of be stimulated a little bit out of your comfort zone. And the idea of looking down into the water, it's kind of like, it's not like, I wonder what's down there. It's almost like you know what's down there. That's your safety zone. That's your realm. But are you going to be able to bring these new emotions and this new awareness, because it's also awareness of emotions and feeling things differently with an element of excitement and slight destabilization because you're out of what is your normal environment, but you're still very close to it and you still have an eye on it. But are you going to be able to bring these airy emotions into the depths of where you would normally live and bring in another element to your emotional life? And as I was starting to do this, I was actually reminded, I'm not sure where it's going, but I was reminded of an event in my life. So I'm going to say it and see how they want me to connect it. It was when I was in Thailand in the early 90s, very early 90s, and I went parasailing, which is a situation where there is a boat, you're attached to a parachute, and the boat takes off, and you go up into the air, and it was in a beautiful southeastern island, Koh Samui, and I was very careful. I took my glasses off so they wouldn't go flying away. And I just had to look for the guys down below waving me to know when I had to pull the cord in order to come down with the parachute and land after my tour around was finished. And I got up there and I was enjoying myself and I was so proud because I was very timid in those days. And I was just like, oh, look at me. I'm doing this wonderful thing that's so exciting and potentially dangerous. And I was just so thrilled with the view and with myself. And I did a nice stretch and I got a cramp in my glutes. And then I was like, oh my God, I don't know how to get out of this. It's like I was really in a horrible, horrible pain. And then all of a sudden I realized I better look down and see when I'm supposed to be pulling this cord to land. And I couldn't see because I'd taken my glasses off to protect my vision. or to protect my glasses, totally forgetting that it was going to cut my ability to see, not realizing. So I had no idea. I couldn't see the people waving to me. I couldn't see the people. I had a general idea of where the beach was, and I saw my friend, sort of, I thought, down there. And I just, at one point, thought, I think it's now or never. And I pulled the cord, and, I did land, and I knocked every single one of those young Thai boys who were taking care of the whole situation. I mowed them down like bowling pins. But no blood was shed, and they were very gracious about it. So what's the point of this? The point of this was I was up in the air. Talk to me, Doug. I was up in the air, and I was being excited about my experience of being up there. But because I had been so super conscious, I lost my ability to stay in contact with the ground so that I knew when to bring myself down out of the air. And I thank you very much. So this is the caution for you, my lovely Cancers, is whatever you're experiencing in an airy state, it may be lovely emotions, it may be difficult emotions, but they are definitely something that is coming to you. You're being asked to keep a calm focus and to not let yourself get overwhelmed like I was. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed with too much emotion, too much responsibility, and notice where you are doing things that are taking you out of your ability to experience this expanded emotion while also staying linked to that deep part of you, which is grounded in deeper emotion, which is grounded in the ability to understand the unconscious, to be in connection with empathy. Because it's not just about empathy for another person. What we really want is for you to be experiencing the understanding of your own experience as you're having these emotions. The thing with Cancers is, so very often, because they're used to living in deep emotion and because they're so sensitive, they become protective, and they can sometimes then live with a kind of almost barrier instead of boundary. So a barrier is not as negotiable. A boundary is negotiable. You can come in contact with a new situation or experience a new emotion and decide in that moment how you want to deal with it, as opposed to a barrier or a wall which says, no, I'm not even getting near that feeling. No, that will not come close to me. I'm not going to deal with it. So I feel you're in the process now of dealing with boundaries, learning boundaries. And so for the group that is dealing with strictly with it from an emotional sense, this is that for you. Stay calm, be really aware of it. Please stay aware of, keep an eye on where you really live, which is in your deep, very watery, very receptive and empathic and empathetic energy, while also experiencing this. You're working now on letting the two coexist so that this energy can expand and broaden this. For those of you who are experiencing this within a situation where you have found yourself overwhelmed because of having perhaps given too much, or overwhelmed because you're going over things, situations where you gave too much, where you might be experiencing regret or maybe even self-recriminations about how you lived something, or blaming of others. You're being asked to be really kind to yourself, to others, to just really let yourself slow down in your perception of things, and also if it's in terms of something you're actually doing, slow down. Notice where your attitude can create a sense of struggle, and that you can actually very often give that up. It's more of an attitude of how you do something. You can set boundaries. Thank you. You can set parameters for yourself where you say, for example, if you think your job is to take care of this person that way and that person that way and this that way, then you set these kind of guidelines for yourself where you must do this then and you must do that and then you must do that. And so it's almost as though you've got a routine where you go through fulfilling these obligations, but you're the one who's created the timeline. You're the one who said, this is essential, this is necessary, I must. So you're being asked now to step back and realize that you might potentially do all of those things, but you don't have to do them in this timeline you've created, and you may not have to do all of them at all. It may possibly be that you're doing the right thing by stepping back from doing some of those things altogether. So the tendency too is with a Cancer is that there can be so much giving, and there can be so much struggle that comes from giving and waiting and hoping, and that you reach a certain point where it's just, that's it, I'm done. The line is drawn, and I can't do it anymore. I'm just so overwhelmed and exhausted. It's not possible. And at that point, sometimes you can't even really communicate why, because you're just so tired from it that it's just done. So you're being asked to really check in with yourself. Try to stay out of overwhelm. For those of you who are dealing with it from this context, try to stay out of overwhelm and look at where you have defined your responsibility, that maybe it's not your way. Maybe those aren't your responsibilities. Who told you they were? Is this something you've told yourself? Is this something in your life you have been told by your family, your culture? Is it something that a friend or a partner or a child has said to you, this is your job, and you've just gone, oh, well, of course, because that's my role. Well, no, maybe not. Check in. You're being asked to really check in with what exactly is your responsibility, and to breathe. Because even though in the first one we were talking more about from just a purely emotional experience, more of a joyful, exploratory, I wonder what's going to happen next feeling in the emotions. The thing for Cancer is you've got to get used to air. You've got to get used to handling air. So one of the ways is you don't want to freeze out, okay? When you're dealing with this emotion and when you're trying to go deep with it, you want to keep breathing. So I am going to say, if you're going through situations where you're experiencing the situations of pain and struggle and overwhelm and that burden of responsibility that maybe you want to reevaluate, breath is really important. But checking in, kind again, there's kind. So kindness, this carries a quality of gentleness, empathy, gracious consideration, and humaneness. When you have a choice to be right or kind, choose kind. Choose your kindness for yourself, but also if you've gotten into a situation where you've let people get away with a lot of stuff and now you're ticked, you can choose kindness towards them too. You can be kind about the fact that you're saying no to them because you kind of trained them, right? So choose kind, check in with yourself, give yourself permission to do things differently, and really let yourself, before you do anything, really check in with yourself. Do you want to? Yes, you can, but do you want to? And notice when you question yourself, does the idea of doing it contract your body and tighten you? Or does it expand you and soften you and increase your breath? Okay? So the main thing for you guys is check in. Do you want to? Do you not want to? Slow things down. Do one thing at a time. And when I say do one thing at a time, Cancers, I mean also stay present. Be present with what you're doing and not thinking about the 18 other things you've taken responsibility for doing. Keep in mind, this is Cancer related, so it could be happening all on an emotional field. But I suspect for some of you it's not. I suspect there's more. So calm focus, softness, kindness, check in. Whose rules are you following? Do you want to do what you're doing? Do you want to do instead? Focus on your solutions, not the problems. You don't need to go deep and dark. And keep a positive energy. Do whatever you need to do to keep your energy up so that you can stay out of overwhelm. And really look and reevaluate. What is your responsibility? Where do you want to be? What do you want to be doing? Okay? That's it. If you'd like to share, subscribe, comment, all of it is very welcome. I'll be back next week. I wish you all the best. And remember, I landed all right. I took out a few bodies, but they got back up again and they were very lovely and smiling. You have the capacity, the capability to deal with far more emotion than you have thought yourself to be able to deal with. You're already dealing with it. It's just you haven't let the quality of emotion change in a way where it's more liberating for you. And now this is your opportunity to do it. Okay? You've got it. Take care.